Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Josh Poet with you. First Contact Radio. So, hope you had a great weekend. Summertime is in full swing. So is the heat, and so is all the other weather conditions. I hope you're safe in the world wherever you are. I know that there's a lot of challenges going on that you're dealing with. I hope you're safe where you are. We got a lot of news and information today. Starting off with our Dreamspell. Today, the Dreamspell date is the blue self-existing storm. Blue self-existing storm guided by the eagle. Blue is the color of transformation. Self-existing tone is tone number 4. You can tell by the 4 dots here. The storm, this symbol right here, is the Dakin. The storm is all about catalyzing energy, self-generation, and here we have the eagle, which is the guide for today. The eagle's about vision. So altogether, we put all this into a phrase, and the phrase is, I define in order to catalyze measuring energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation with the self-existing tone of form. I am guided by the power of vision. And on the Gregorian calendar, it is Monday, July 11th, 2011. That's our dream spell for today. I hope you got a lot out of Friday's show where I went and described a bit more in detail about how the dream spell works. I'm going to do this again. Maybe I'll make this a regular part of every week, that I'll take some time out, maybe even a couple of times during this week, where we'll get into some discussions, because there's a lot, as you heard, there to understand about it. It's a pretty simple system once you understand it. But it does, up until that point, seem like there's a lot of pieces to understand. So we'll get more into that. Don't worry at all. In the meantime, we're going to jump to the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw, who has his information for you about government warehouses. This may be the one in Indiana Jones. I don't know, but we're going to find out right now. Dirk, over to you.
Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Start each and every weekday morning with Joshua Poet, First Contact Radio. This is a news and radio show unlike anything you've ever heard. Our stories are very provocative, and you'll never hear anything like this mainstream television or radio. So wake up early, brew yourself a cup of coffee, and at 8 a.m., turn on First Contact Radio. All the stories they don't want you to know. Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of...
Hey there, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight we send our ace reporters out to investigate inside secret government warehouses and exposing their shocking revelations. Alien body parts, powerful religious artifacts, UFO wreckage. What exactly is hidden behind heavily guarded doors? Tonight, our reporters go on a global expedition to uncover the truth behind the world's top secret, mysterious warehouses where super classified objects are kept. That's tonight on the Cosmic News. You're going to want to stay tuned, not just today, but for the next 3 days. This is just part 1 of our expose inside secret government warehouses.
From ancient civilizations to medieval kingdoms to our own modern society, conspiracy theories abound about those in control keeping powerful secrets from the people, from all of us. And while the allegations may vary, the overarching questions remain the same. What are they hiding? Why are they hiding it? And where is it hidden? Secret government warehouses. Where are they? And what secrets do they hold?
You can't apply federal laws to a non-existent place.
Tonight, an investigation to find out.
How do people get in here?
We'll travel the world looking for answers. From powerful Washington insiders.
Would there be military bases we don't know about?
At an abandoned military base in Montauk, New York, with investigator Richard Dolan.
We're starting to see the disturbances already.
In the skies above the legendary Area 51 in Nevada, with researcher Glenn Campbell.
Helicopter 9660 Hotel, you familiar with that restricted airspace 3 miles to your west?
All the way across the ocean to perhaps the biggest repository of history on Earth, the Vatican.
Can we go into the actual archive now?
Our investigation will reveal shocking revelations about secret government experiments on U.S. citizens.
We were making human guinea pigs out of civilians.
Cover-ups about the existence of UFOs.
I couldn't tell them what I was done because it was top secret.
Potential evidence from a secret base that may provide proof the government has been hiding the truth about extraterrestrial life for decades.
You're certainly not human.
It's so unusual. It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
We'll speak to informants who divulge details about what's hidden and where.
There's thousands and thousands of underground tunnels.
And for the first time on network TV, bring you footage purportedly smuggled out of Area 51 of an extraterrestrial. Travel with us on a global expedition to find the truth about secret government warehouses.
Welcome to Warehouse 13.
The secret government warehouse. It's a concept portrayed in pop culture that has intrigued audiences around the world for generations.
What is this place?
Officially, K39ZZZ on the North American grid. But I like to think of it as America's attic.
In the sci-fi series Warehouse 13, 2 Secret Service agents are sent to a classified location in the middle of the desert. There, they are told they must protect a mysterious government facility full of historical artifacts that have potentially catastrophic paranormal powers.
What you're supposed to do is hunt down whatever is threatening to ruin the world's day and neutralize it and bring it here. You're gonna snag it and bag it and tag it.
It may seem like a far-fetched idea, but we know there are locations around the world where governments are hiding things. On military bases, in government archives, in underground bunkers. Many of them pertain to national security. But are there other deep secrets inside these restricted areas?
What are they doing in Fort Knox or in Area 51? What are they doing in the Vatican that I can't go in and see? The mere fact of refusing to let people in makes the people on the outside question why are they being shut out and what is actually happening in that secret area or secret meeting.
Are there facilities we don't even know about, hiding things we should know about? Some say yes.
I believe that there are large numbers of underground facilities throughout this world, a large number of Warehouse 13 type facilities. Everything's in its little compartment, buried away very, very secretly, whether it deals with mind control or UFOs or maybe secret biological weapons or what have you. Secrecy is the norm, not the exception.
To answer these questions, we began our investigation in Washington, D.C. We've come to talk with John Podesta, former chief of staff to President Clinton, and a longtime advocate for government transparency, to get an inside perspective on just how extensive government secrecy may be.
Has the government, in your knowledge, ever gone too far in keeping something secret?
I mean, of course the government can go too far and keep it secret, and those habits kind of die hard. We just need to be observant to ensure that the public gets the maximum information that we can provide it.
Is there a sense sometimes that the American public can't handle this information?
People who are classifying information think the American public can't really handle it or don't need to know it. But I think over the long term, that's really dangerous. I think the American public can handle the truth.
But how much don't we know as a society?
There are sensitive operations that are kept secret that is critical to the success of those operations. But having said that, there's a lot that's swept into that zone, which for reasons that really are not about security, but could be done because if the public knew, they wouldn't want it being done in their name.
One of the biggest sources of speculation is the existence of still classified UFO files.
Why has the U.S. not been more forthcoming, opened up more information about UFO sightings, either proving or disproving?
I think that's a question that I ask myself. I mean, is there something really in there that the American people couldn't really be made available to? Maybe, maybe it'll seem whatever the government was doing at the time might seem a little silly in retrospect, but so what? I mean, I think the public has a right to know that.
While the U.S. government still keeps UFO documents stashed away at a government facility somewhere, other countries are finally coming clean. In 2008, the UK declassified its UFO records. And for the first time, witnesses, including members of the U.S. military, have been able to publicly come forward with their stories.
I couldn't tell them what I had done because it was top secret.
Milton Torres is a retired U.S. fighter pilot. In 1957, while stationed in the UK, a strange assignment came over his radio.
They had informed me that this was going to be an active firing mission. Then they said, this is an unidentified flying object. We want you to shoot this thing down.
When Torres reached the designated coordinates, a giant object appeared on his radar screen.
It was doing maneuvers that I couldn't follow. It would stop and then take off, right angles. I got in, well, within 20 seconds to go, when all of a sudden it just disappeared. I mean, it took off something like 10 times the speed of sound. This is faster than anything we have on the drawing board. Well, I was afraid for my life.
Torres returned to base and was ordered to never reveal what he saw in the air.
They said that this mission has been declared top secret. You're not to discuss this with anyone, not your wife, not your commander, not anyone. If you violate top secret instructions, you can go to jail.
To this day, Torres does not know what it was he saw on his radar screen, but he has his suspicions.
I don't think we're alone. And whoever built that machine knew a hell of a lot more than I did.
Could stories like Torres's still be under lock and key within the U.S. government's UFO files? Even some politicians believe the answer is yes. Former Arizona Governor Fife Symington, who witnessed the unexplained Phoenix lights, believes it was a UFO and that it was covered up by the U.S. government.
I witnessed a massive delta-shaped craft that silently navigated over North Phoenix. We want the United States government to stop perpetuating the myth that all UFOs can be explained away in down-to-earth and conventional terms.
And Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich says he witnessed a UFO as well.
Congressman Kucinich, did you see a UFO?
I did. It was unidentified flying object, okay? It's unidentified. I saw something.
Does the government know something about alien technology that it isn't telling us?
I am convinced that our government has physical evidence, has answers, has information pertaining to the actual existence of UFOs.
Many
Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if by land and two if by sea? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, thank you very much, Dirk. This is Josh, and this is the UFO News. So where are we at today? Well, all right. How'd you like that comment in the story Dirk was doing? It's unidentified, so shoot at it. Isn't that kind of a weird way to look at things? It's unidentified. We don't know what it is. Shoot at it. No, that's the wrong way to go. See, that's the mentality of a United States government and actually Earthlings that are actually clueless about what's going on, who think that they're supposed to shoot first and ask questions later. That's not the right mentality. Don't follow those people. Those aren't your leaders that are going to lead you into the spiritual place you need to be. Those are demons who are going to lead you into hell. So if you want to go to hell, and if that's the place you want to go, and you want to continue down the path of war and destruction, you should listen to those leaders. Now, if you're listening to this show, I know that you have wised up a bit. You're not listening to them, so that's good. Encourage others not to listen to them as well, because we don't need that kind of stupidity down here on the earth, do we? Maybe we do. I don't know. Seems like a lot of people like the stupidity. Speaking of stupidity, this brings me to my first story here. Now, I showed you a couple of times the video about the big dust storm that took place in Phoenix, Arizona, and the two orbs that were above it, white-colored orbs. And then I told you a story that they said that these were just planes. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of planes in my time down here on Earth, and I've never seen a plane that just floats in one place. Not anything that humans make, not anything that is made available for you to know that humans make, except maybe like a big balloon dirigible, something of that nature, helium balloons, but that wasn't it. This was something much different. But this is what is now going out there on the debunking media to try to convince you what you really saw was what you didn't see, because they are going to tell you what it was. So in case you're not certain of what it was, listen to this report. This should clear it all up for you, right? Because if Fox News says it or the mainstream media says it, well then it's got to be the truth, doesn't it? Here we go. Check this out. See what you think.
Caught on tape. Look closely enough at this week's giant dust storm, and you can see the two bright lights whizzing by right in front of it. Tonight, they're catching a lot of attention and getting international buzz. ABC 15's Christopher Stein is live. Chris, it's crazy to think those two little orbs can cause so much controversy.
And a lot of people saying they're UFOs.
So many people are saying that, Katie, around the world. As a matter of fact, I found one website where people are calling for an all-out UFO investigation. Now, I'm on the ABC 15 helipad because right here behind me, Air 15, and you see that camera on the nose of the helicopter there? That's a high-definition camera, and as the saying goes, the video doesn't lie, and in this case, the video reveals the truth. You've seen the images and you've seen the video.
This was the biggest one I'd ever seen.
Think about what it was like in the air, in our chopper, capturing the monster storm.
That was pretty intense.
Positioned in the back of Air 15, photojournalist Jesse Rutherford had a focused eye on the storm, but it's what he recorded coming out of the dust that's creating UFO headlines.
I didn't necessarily know that it was going to make the rounds on the internet like it did.
The internet chatter comes from international UFO websites, several of them, as a matter of fact, claiming our video shows UFOs. Those two white lights you see right there, some are calling orbs popping in and out of the dust cloud.
We're over the downtown Tempe area.
And at an altitude of about 400 feet, the video is linked on the sites showing those orbs. In many comments, but there's something missing. The end of the video. Watch closely. Yes, that's a plane.
We heard them on the radio. We heard the pilots describing the low visibility conditions as they were making their approach into the airport.
Both planes soon landed, but that video continues to be a viral hit from those wondering if the dust storm generated something else from out of this world. Christopher Stein, ABC 15 News.
Meteorologist Rich Dahlquist.
Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't see a plane. I didn't see a plane. I saw two orbs. I never heard a report of anything landing. And yes, they tried to deceive you by saying, look, we have a high-definition camera here, and this is what we heard. Okay, do you see the apples and oranges thing? We have something that has a visual image, and this is what we heard. No, you don't hear a visual image from a high-definition camera. You see a visual image from a high-definition camera. If he would have said that this high-definition camera got footage of this plane, look at what we saw, that would be a different thing. But it's part of the deception that they try to pull over your eyes. We have this camera, and this is what we heard with it. No. So, unless you are aware of any kind of planes that would fly in and out of a dust storm like that, or be able to hover, I would like to know what kind of planes those are. Because helicopters can hover, but airplanes, as far as I'm aware, don't. So you make up your own mind, but the way I see it, if the mainstream media is talking about it, then they're trying to lie and debunk it because, well, they have corporate interests that they have to answer to, and UFOs don't quite fit into corporate interests now, do they? All right, our next story is we have UFOs over Chilliwack, BC as the summer of contact continues. A new video captured in the early morning hours of Sunday, July 10th, 2011 shows a pair of mysterious objects flying west over Chilliwack, BC. The digital night vision recording reveals how one or two objects gradually expands into a ball of light and then appears many times larger than its partner before quickly contracting in size. The phenomena observed in the video reflect images streamed live from NASA TV showing UFOs expanding while flying through the Earth's atmosphere. Reports of UFOs from the Fraser Valley are nothing new, with one major local newspaper and provincial ufological society describing a number of related events. However, in the written comments provided earlier this afternoon, the Fraser Valley Paranormal Research Society mistakenly inferred that this video was the product of a consumer handheld camera, never designed to take pictures of objects that are thousands of kilometers away. And this link will be up at our page, firstcontactradio.com on the right side, UFO News. We have another story here. This one is the URZI case, a UFO mystery in the skies of Italy. This one, I'm going to read you the intro, and then you can follow it up from here. It says, UFO TV presents the URZI case, a UFO mystery in the skies of Italy, the bullet version. In the last few years, strange events have been taking place in the skies over Milan, Italy. More than 1,700 UFO sightings have been filmed since the year 2000 by Antonio URZI. These include metallic shapes, spheres of light, flotillas, and many other types of strange phenomenon. Antonio URZI's film evidence has generated tremendous interest amongst UFO researchers all over the world. Now, for the first time, his story and the remarkable film evidence he has collected can be seen in this fascinating, fact-filled documentary. It's called the URZI case. Let me just play you a minute of this here.
In the last few years, unaccountable puzzling events have been taking place on the outskirts of Milan, in Italy. Unidentified aircraft hover just in front of the windows of an anonymous house. The phenomenon keeps reoccurring with a high frequency. A young man films them with his camera, producing UFO footage absolutely unique in history. The image quality.
All right, that's where I'm going to leave you with that bit of the story there, but you're going to be able to find this on UFO. It's like a 7-minute piece. Just wanted to give you a little intro. Right here we have a sighting, Space Shuttle Atlantis. I want you to see this. I do have this queued up right to the spot where you're going to see it. And as you look, here you go on the right-hand side here. This is the UFO coming into frame, the Space Shuttle Atlantis. Says UFO sightings, July 10th, 2011. UFO was filmed on NASA cameras aboard the Space Shuttle Atlantis. This will probably be the last of the live feeds from NASA due to the ending of the Space Shuttle program. So, quite fascinating indeed that they are being visited up there. Very important that they're checking that out, obviously, with everything that's going on. And that's our UFO news for today. Now, if you're listening to us at Blog Talk, this is about the end of the show. But we're going to continue on here at Ustream. And, of course, you'll be able to see the full hour show at YouTube in a bit now. So for those in Blog Talk, we'll talk to you later. Go over and click the link and watch the Ustream live because I'm here for the rest of the hour. For everybody else, let's continue on here. We've got one other story. You've heard about holographics. You heard about the Project Bluebeam and the idea that we could have holographic type images up in the sky that might be used to deceive others, deceive the witnesses. Well, here is one of those examples. This is a holographic plane. That's right, a holographic plane, as you will see here. Alright, you're going to see this plane flying across the screen momentarily. And one of the things interesting about this plane is you're going to see this plane actually disappear right before your very eyes. It's going to fade away because it is not a real plane. So keep your eye on the plane. Let me move forward a little bit here. Okay. Now, as it goes through the clouds, it certainly fades out a bit, but it comes out, and you can see different images of this. You know, now here it is. You really can't see it. You can see the very tip of it. It's coming out of the clouds. It's a bit fainter than it was before. So what is the point of this whole exercise of showing you this? Well, because holographic equipment does exist. Holographic equipment definitely does exist, and it's going to be used to get you to think that there's something more going on than actually is. This is Project Bluebeam. I think maybe a show, we should do a show on Project Bluebeam. I think tomorrow I'll talk about it so that you can understand a bit more what it is and how this video actually has some importance to that significance. But this link will be available on our page, and that's our UFO news for today. So I'm going to jump to a song. I'll be back, and we got some more news and information. Stay tuned.
Headline edition, July 8th, 1947.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw it. Up above the clouds, it was a silver shiny disk floating high above the ground. Then I saw them waving to me. It was E.T. and his family. Something happened up the straight from the ground. Through the sky, it shot the UFO down. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw a UFO shot down. It was a silver shining disc, broken in pieces on the ground. Then I saw them lying there, bodies scattered everywhere. Something happened, a military show, picked up the pieces, and the case was closed. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio.
One day, as I was looking to the sky, I began to think for myself, what if another ship comes down to take E.T. home? Then it occurred to me, maybe this is Earth's destiny. Something like this won't happen anymore. No more missiles, no more UFOs down. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. More news, more news. We're going to start things off with Ron Paul. Ron Paul's talking about what's going on with money, the rest of the world, the dollar, Here we go. This is from his own words. Ron Paul, over to you.
As the debate heats up over the debt, so do the warnings. GOP presidential candidate and Texas Congressman Ron Paul says these harsh words for the White House. Quote, in Washington, if you hear about a so-called deal, you can be sure the taxes will come, but the cuts never will. He's also warning Republicans not to fall for any deals from Democrats. He's joining us live now via Skype from Texas to explain why. Hello, Congressman. Good to see you today.
Hello. Good to talk to you again.
All right, so you're convinced that regardless of what kind of deal they work out, in the long term, you think the spending cuts aren't going to come. Why not?
Because the problem is too big. I don't question their good intentions. I think a lot of members of Congress, on both sides, would like to get this behind them. But the problem is too big. There's too much momentum. Big government's there. Nobody wants to cut the military. Nobody wants to cut the entitlements. So they make this pretense, but I don't think the cuts will come. They talked about this in the 80s. They said if we raise taxes, we'll do the cuts, but the cuts never came. So, and I work on the assumption that only this year's budget is what counts. If you promise to cut in the next 10 years $4 trillion, I mean, why should that reassure the public, or why should that reassure the marketplace? It's just, putting things on. We have to decide as a country on whether or not we should be the policeman of the world and whether we can afford this entitlement system. And those are the two questions that they do not ask.
Well, Congressman, that sounds pretty pessimistic that we're not going to turn this around, that the appetite for big government is insatiable at this point. So what's the long-term bit of hope? Is there any, in your view?
Oh, yeah, I'm very hopeful and very positive on the long run, but I think we're going to go through a bankruptcy first because everything we've done so far is just spend more and run up the deficit and print more money. And eventually the world will give up on the dollar, and then we'll go through the ringer, through the bankruptcy, and every reason in the world will come back to our senses. Maybe we'll just follow the Constitution, do only those things that are authorized, have sound money, don't allow the Fed to print money, and have a sensible foreign policy. But they're not on the verge of this. But the people I talk to around the country, many of them young people, are ready for it because they know they're getting a bad deal and they can't afford it. They can't even get a job, let alone pay for all this, all the wars and all the entitlements. So the whole process is coming to an end. That's why I'm predicting in the next week or two or a month or two, they're not going to come up with a solution that's going to satisfy hardly anybody.
Okay, so Congressman, you're looking past just the idea of possibly defaulting August 2nd or in the neighborhood there, as we've been warned by the Treasury Department and Treasury Secretary Geithner. You're predicting an all-out collapse of the U.S. dollar and bankruptcy for the United States?
Oh, yes. I mean, we literally declared that already. One time we promised we'd pay gold for our dollars, and we declared we didn't have that. But now we default all the time because we print money just to pay our bills, and the dollar goes down in value. So if somebody pays you $10,000 they owed you a year ago, you're only getting probably $900. And the government wants to pay their debt with cheap money. So they want inflation. They want devaluation. It's the only way they can politically liquidate the debt. The other way you liquidate debt is you just stiff everybody and you don't pay your bills. But we're going to pay our bills. Everybody's going to get paid, but the money's not going to have any money. They're talking about changing the CPI right now so that they don't raise the benefits to people under Social Security. And they're going to say it with a straight face and say, oh, the cost of living isn't going up. So there's all kinds of ways governments manipulate, and the worst manipulation is the depreciation of the currency, and I don't see how they can stop it because there's no serious attempt to cut back. If they did, if everybody was worried as I am, they would get together and cut everybody's budget 10% and save, a lot of money right off the bat. But there's no suggestion, no attempt to do that, no attempt to bring our troops home, and no attempt to say, maybe we've overextended ourselves with the entitlement system. And it has nothing to do with what we've been authorized to do in the Constitution. So this is why it is big, it is significant. And what happens here in the next week or two in some type of agreement, I predict they'll probably raise the debt limit, but they won't be coming any closer to the solution.
All right, Congressman, I want to mention that in another important straw poll last night out of New Hampshire, you came out on top again. You have great success in the straw poll arena. How are you feeling about your chances in New Hampshire come primary time?
Well, better all the time, so I was very pleased to hear that. And we're going to keep working very hard in the various states, especially the early states. So we were delighted to hear what happened in New Hampshire.
All right, Congressman, we thank you very much for your time today. We know there's a lot of work ahead on these very important issues, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, Ron Paul there. So, thank you very much, Ron Paul. So, it's interesting, she just made mention that Ron Paul came in top of another straw poll, yet when you see the results that come out from these straw polls and they actually show, some of them don't even mention Ron Paul. They leave him out even though he was one of the top finishers during the course of those events. So, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think things are going to get better? It just doesn't seem like. I mean, we have a real problem in our administration. I think we're going to remember this as a historic point in time when we lived through an administration full of frauds. I mean, they're not real politicians, or maybe they are real politicians. This is just how a politician behaves. But, they're just not out for any of the people. They're just out to take care of themselves, and it's just a shame that people buy into all of the lies that come out of Washington as if they're one day going to tell the truth. They're not going to tell the truth. That's not their job. They're put in positions of power to lie to you. That's all that they want to do, lie. Obama, he's not a real president. He's a puppet. Okay? He never had the power of a president. He has the power of a puppet who goes out there and tells you he's going to do things, but in the long run he really can't do anything except lie to you. And now he has to scramble to try to keep some sort of dignity because he's proven himself to be someone who has no dignity and no integrity. So now the next year or two is going to be spent on trashing Obama. The powers that be are going to trash him, and we'll see where it all leads to. But it's not a very promising situation unless Americans step up and decide, like Ron Paul says, to follow the Constitution. Shouldn't be treated as a piece of paper like George Bush says. It shouldn't be pushed away like some congressmen and presidents want it to be. It should be adhered to. That's very important. If you want to refresh yourself on the Constitution, firstcontactradio.com, right-hand side, I have a link for you, the U.S. Constitution. I also have a link there for you for the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. That way, if you've forgotten what those are, well, you can remind yourself. You can also just Google either one of them, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, Constitution. Important documents that you should remember exist because they exist for your benefit. Now, there's another dust storm that took place in Arizona the other day. It says, various sources from YouTube do search a dust storm, and you find out. I'm going to play a little bit of what this was here. Alright, as you can see, there's the big dust storm going on out there, and it's moving pretty good. And hey, we don't see any planes flying over this time, do we? Nope. I guess they learned last time that you don't want to fly a plane in a dust storm. But since it probably wasn't a plane, well. Alright, so there's the dust storm going on there. Got some interesting news here from Packy. Let me play just a moment or two of this for you.
Today. All right, first one. Consumers borrowed more for the 8th month in May. Okay, it says here, out of the AP, Americans took on more debt in May and used their credit cards more for only the second time in nearly 3 years. Now, this is what was concerning me. This is the one thing that I've been worried about, is when is the credit issue going to be a problem? Because think about it, guys. If you guys keep borrowing money and you don't have jobs, you're not going to be able to pay that money back, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to owe a whole bunch of money. Well, who do you think you're going to owe that money to? The feds. Anyways, moving on. I know you got to do what you got to do to survive. Please comment. Tell me what you think. Going to move on to the next article. All right. Ash from eruption of Mount Etna closes Catania Airport in Sicily. I didn't even know this. I knew it was going off, but I didn't know what was going on with it. There's a video here. You guys can check it out. It says a southern Italian airport was on Saturday was closed due to ash from Mount Etna, forcing traffic to be diverted to Palermo. Anyways, you guys can read the report, watch the video, tell me what you think. Just wanted to bring it to your attention. All right, moving on to the next article. It says another Iceland volcano stirs, causing flooding official. Okay, so get that. Another Iceland volcano is stirring, which causes flooding. Now, I can't pronounce this word, but Reykjavik, a massive flood of meltwater poured out of Iceland's something glacier Saturday, raising fears of an eruption from the powerful Katla volcano underneath. But experts say the large blast was unlikely. Well, I don't know why they're saying that, because it's 20 to 30 years overdue, depending on how you look at it. It could be almost 60 years overdue, because it goes off every 40 to 100 years or something like that. Anyways, just wanted to get that out. You tell me what you think. Now, yesterday, we had a 7.0 mag earthquake strike off the east coast of Japan. Okay, that's crazy. The depth wasn't even that deep. I definitely think it was HARP. We also had negative earthquakes. Dutch Sense talked about it. I noticed those, but didn't know what to think of them. They look like really big earthquakes on the map, but it showed a negative earthquake in the map, and they also showed 0 earthquakes on the map. But anyways, I just wanted to get that out. We had some crazy stuff going on with the Earth yesterday and today. And I'm going to go over this next article. It's Tilt, South Pacific Seismic Crisis Moving Towards Geologic Catastrophe, in other words. The seismic crisis involving the convulsion of earthquakes along the trench underpinning the Pacific and Australian tectonic plates may be entering what we appear a new phase of more aggressive geological activity. Now, I suggest you guys check out the article, but what I want to show you here is RSOE. Now, this line right here has been here for 2 days. Now, the crazy thing is that this line goes right up here into Japan, okay? And it also goes right down here where this or right out New Zealand here where all this stuff is happening. Now, I'm going to hit refresh, just in case. I want you guys to re-see this. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and hit it again. This way you know that you're looking at a website. Now, this has been up. Please go check it out. Tell me if you see the same thing. This is where we had the here you go, 0 kilometer earthquake at a magnitude of, or no wait, it's 2.1 at 0 kilometers. Okay, it was they've taken them off the map. Anyways, you guys have to check out a different earthquake program.
All right. So I was curious about that myself. Let's go check it out right now and see what we can see. We're going to go to RSOE because I saw that and I was really curious about what that line was all about. All right, let's see if it's still here. Okay, the line is not there at this moment. All right, yeah, it was right in here. It is now gone. All right, but nonetheless, it was there the other day. What is it? I don't know. I'm going to put this video up on our YouTube page. So you can go check it out, watch look at the rest of his stories. Gets into talking about Planet X, more flooding, the levees, South Korea, U.S. Treasury information, and of course, the Justice Department says marijuana has no medical purpose, even though the medical institutions out there, and there are a number of states that have gone out and proposed that it's be used for medical reasons. Suddenly the Obama administration is now going against that. But one thing we know for certain, that if the Obama administration is saying it, most likely it is a lie. How do you know that the Obama administration is lying? Their lips are moving. So therefore it obviously has a medical purpose, and that they are telling a lie because they want to convince you otherwise for some reason involving some sort of legalities, I'm sure, and money that they think that they're going to put into their pockets. Don't believe their lies. I mean, you could believe their lies. You know, a lot of people do every single day. Hook, line, and sinker. It just sooner or later, people got to wise up and realize that they are being lied to. Hopefully today's that day for the people that you knew and know that are being lied to, and maybe even yourself. Hopefully today is that day you say no more lies. Today you're going to want truth, and you're going to turn away from the lies of the governments, because that's all they're giving you, lies. All right, where are we moving here? We've got the Ron Paul, this and that. I'm going to play a bit of this piece here from 9/11 Truth before we close out the show. This was Richard Gage, AIA, on Irish TV. Listen to what he had to say.
Over 3,000 people died on September 11th, 2001 in a series of 4 coordinated suicide attacks upon the United States by terrorist group Al-Qaeda. And although Osama bin Laden has finally been made to pay for the 9/11 atrocity, there is another argument which continues to rage on.
As the 10th anniversary of 9/11 approaches, we are joined now by Richard Gage, the controversial architect, who claims that the falling of the buildings exhibited all of the characteristics of controlled demolition with explosives. But before he puts his case forward, let's have a look at some of the highlights from his movie, 9/11, A Blueprint for Truth.
Controlled demolitions can be engineered in many different ways. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, claims they found no evidence for explosive demolition of Twin Towers. Later, they admit that they never looked for it. Architects, engineers, scientists, and many others looked for it, and it was not hard to find. We make some predictions, and we test those predictions and those assumptions with experiments. Objective, verifiable, repeatable experiments. We analyze the results and we draw conclusions.
I think I know an explosion when I hear it.
And it sounded like a countdown. And at the last few seconds, he took his hand off, and you heard 3, 2, 1, and he was just saying, just run for your life, just run for your life. And then it was like another 2, 3 seconds, you heard explosions.
Richard Gage, good morning. You're very welcome to the program. Your central theory is that that building could not have gone down like that under the circumstances under which we thought we were viewing it.
Clearly, and 1,500 architects and engineers have their reputations, their licenses on the line, backing up the scientific forensic evidence that inescapably supports the hypothesis of explosive demolition in not just the 2 Twin Towers, but all 3 skyscrapers that were destroyed on that day.
Because, of course, the third one wasn't hit by any planes.
No. Yes, World Trade Center 7, the 47-story skyscraper, comes straight down uniformly, symmetrically, as you saw, into its own footprint.
The official cause for that is what?
Small office fires, and we have 8 to 10 scattered fires, and you can see they're just extremely small. And office fires have never collapsed a skyscraper before in history, and we have hundreds of examples of real hot, large, and long-lasting fires. And yet this one falls exactly like a classic controlled demolition. You have to remove all the columns almost simultaneously on each floor for 8 floors to get a building to fall at free fall. In other words, remove the 40,000 tons of structure synchronistically timed floor by floor. So people know what that building is and what it's doing. And yet we're told office fires. That means obviously someone had to be into that building, plant those explosives to bring that building down. That raises great shadows for the Twin Towers destruction, because we're told, of course, that jet plane impacts and fires brought those buildings down in a gravitational collapse.
Richard, you mentioned 1,500 architects and engineers have put their reputations on the line. There's about almost 2.5 million architects in America alone, never mind the engineers. So if on a worldwide basis you add up the figures, they're in their millions, architects and engineers. So 1,500 is a teeny tiny percentage of people who are willing to support you. So why haven't more people come on board with your belief? It's not just a theory, it's a genuine belief.
Well, and it's not even a belief. It's scientific forensic evidence, which when those architects and engineers get at least a half an hour to look at this evidence that we provide on our DVD, and that we're going to be speaking about on the 11th and 12th in Dublin and Dundalk and Cork on the 15th, they see it, and they end up agreeing with us, 95% of them.
How long have you been pursuing this cause?
About 4 years now. When
And still it's only 1,500 professionals are agreeing with you?
Oh, this is a lot of professionals. When you consider that most of them know nothing about the third worst structural failure in modern history, World Trade Center 7.
Richard, you know, you're a highly educated man, you're a respected architect, albeit you have some controversial views. You have 1,500 other professionals and academics who support you. Why are the American government not taking this more seriously?
I'm not sure what the reasons for the denial of our ability to get this into the mainstream media in the U.S. is. It is very uncomfortable. It obviously paints a dark picture for people. We were under attack that morning. Most Americans are in a state of shock. We don't want to go back there and re-examine this information. It is just simply not easy. There's a cognitive dissonance associated with 9/11. But when we...
Well, hang on a second, Richard. So much of 9/11, the human stories, America has been racked and angst-ridden about it. So that's been analysed and parsed to the point of, almost to infinity. So why would they not actually want to analyse and parse the real cause to that extent?
Well, what they'll find is that there is a very explosive event in the case of each of the Twin Towers. When you look at these towers, it's very obvious. Gravity works downward, and yet 90% or so of this material is ejected outward. Many 4-ton perimeter wall units are sent at 70 miles an hour out and landing 600 feet away in a 1,400-foot diameter around each of the Twin Towers. There's no pile of 110 floors at the base of either Twin Tower. We're talking about 90,000 tons of concrete in this flooring, which is pulverized to a fine powder in midair before it even hits the ground. Now, when we say this to people and they watch what we're talking about, they get it. When they realize that a small team of international scientists finds sophisticated nanothermite composite explosives or incendiaries in all the World Trade Center dust, and that this is peer-reviewed in a 25-page paper, uncontested to this day, they get it. When they realize that the U.S. Geological Survey found small droplets of molten iron throughout all of this dust in spherical shape, meaning that there's temperatures far exceeding what jet fuel or office fires.
It burns at about 2,000 Fahrenheit, isn't it? And it would need to be about 2,600 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, where did that temperature come from?
Richard, what about people like, I'm just thinking about, but what about people like Dr. Seven from Cambridge who, went,
talks about progressive collapsing.
Yes, he produced a multi-page paper mathematically proving that these buildings could come down at near free-fall acceleration, a dozen seconds. Now, there's 80,000 tons of structural steel in this building. How can it fall in a dozen seconds, both buildings, and no resistance?
Well, we don't, obviously neither of us are engineers.
We don't have the ability to.
The obvious question is, why would anybody associated with the American administration or American establishment want to do this? Because if they wanted to create a spectacular that would get America on site going to war in the Middle East, they could have done something just as spectacular, but with an awful lot less lives, American citizens paying the price for it. Why?
Right. Well, what we're going to learn at these conferences occurring on the 11th and 12th, the Sovereign Independent magazine is sponsoring this extraordinary opportunity to learn not only about 9/11 but several other problems that the American government, the Irish government, don't want people to know about, I guess. That's why they're not picking it up. We have some real problems in getting this publicized. We don't have conspiracy theories at Architects and Engineers.
So you don't know why, basically, is what you're saying.
We have some speculations, but
what's your
what we
personal
offer,
belief, Richard?
we're offering forensic evidence and demanding a new investigation. I don't know what kind of how wide this is. It's obviously some sort of an inside operation. That's the only way you can get the most sophisticated nanothermite composite materials in all of the World Trade Center dust, or have access to these highly secure buildings.
Richard, we'll have to leave it there. People will have to come and see you at your talks, and I'm sure they will, because it is a fascinating topic. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, to answer that question, why isn't the government more involved with it? Because they were involved with it. It was an inside job. George Bush, you are a murderer. So are you, Dick Cheney. They were involved with it. It was an inside job. Anybody who pays any attention understands that's it. Richard obviously just is not, they're not presenting the conspiracy theory. They're not pointing fingers in that regards. They're presenting the evidence, and that's the way they need to portray it. They're doing what they need to do in the right way they need to do it. But it was an inside job. He knows it. People that have researched it know it. The people that were involved with know it. You got to stop listening to the lies. Because of those lies, wars have been created and will continue to be created, and they will keep bringing this 9/11 tragedy in your life as if it is something that you need to be angry about because someone else came over here and defeated the best military force in the world 3 times, and actually 4 when you count the Pentagon, and that we're supposed to just believe that that's how it is. Really? So we're sending this crappy military to fight our wars and go out there and fight wars? Really? The military who couldn't even defend its own homeland, now we're going to send them out? I don't think that's how that works, does it? I know our military is good. I've been on support the troops tours. I've met a lot of our troops. I see the pride that's there. I don't believe for an instant that they let down their guard and this was happening because that they just failed. The only reason it happened was because they were given stand-down orders. That's why. It was an inside job. Dick Cheney, George Bush, and the rest of you scumbags, you should all be in jail. And hopefully one day you will be. Now, that's my 2 cents on the matter. If you don't believe it, I don't care. Because if you believe 9/11 happened the way they say it is, you know what you got to do? You got to take your science books, your math books, and your physics books and throw them away. Because none of that applies. Then we have to go through some sort of fraudulent science that they created in order to get the result that they want. See, that's what they've done. They determined the result they wanted, and then they backward engineered the math, the physics, and the science to match that, as opposed to the other way around. Because it doesn't match with science, physics, or any of the laws and properties that we should be aware of. Okay? So do some research on it. You'll find exactly what he is saying and the 1,500 architects are saying is true. And what I have researched and others have researched, it was an inside job. No questions about it. 9/11 was an inside job. All right. Let's close things out here with a meditation. A little prayer to send us on our way. Go ahead, my friends. Close your eyes. All right, we're at the beginning of a new week. There's lots of challenges taking place in the world, my friends. Lots of challenges, but we can all get through these together because we are all in this together. So let's, imagine ourselves all working together on one team. Imagine a problem before us. And let's imagine that all of us working together overcome the problems. Let's imagine the world as a peaceful, happy place. Let's imagine all the problems, the troublemakers, the bad seeds, the bad apples, whatever name you want to give them. Let's imagine them all being rounded up, lifted off this planet, leaving the planet to be a peaceful, happy place. And let's just send love and light around the planet to everyone. Think good thoughts for everyone this day. Wish blessings of peace and love for everyone around the world. And with that, let's bring our energy and attention back to the present moment. Coming back to the present moment on 3, opening your eyes, 2, aware of where you are, and 1, ready to take on a new day. And that's it. That's our show for today. That's our meditation for today and our prayer, and well, that's what it is. It is what it is, right? Every day is a little different. Go out there, my friends. Be safe today. Pay attention to what's going on. Keep thinking for yourselves. Don't get caught up in the lies that they want to tell you, because they'll just keep lying to you as long as you're willing to accept them. That's my word of wisdom for today. Check back tomorrow. I'll be here. So will Dirk. We love talking and presenting the information to you. Until then, peace.